Welcome everyone to another adventure into reality. I'm your host, Andrew Bartzis, the Galactic Historian. I am joined today by Laura Two Feathers Massey and Dale Sleeping Bear Tobin.
Hello,
Welcome
everyone.
to this adventure into reality, where we open up the call lines for people to call in to us, just like it was in the old days. Laura and Dale, you guys have been listening to my call in shows for a long, long time. As we're waiting for people to call in, tell me what it was like for you guys to listen to shows in the old days.
Yeah, it was great. There was always, you always got something from every caller. And usually it was something that was applicable to my own journey. I mean, nothing was wasted from any of the callers. It was really good. And then later on, I used to use it to try and develop my own psychic skills and my own reading of the Akashic record, to see whether I was anywhere near what you were saying. So it was, yeah, we had, I don't know how many you must have had on, Andrew, over the years, but you've helped a lot of people over the years with Adventures into Reality.
Oh, yeah, thousands and thousands of hours. 10 years of doing it before I decided I had to take a little bit of a break from all the call in shows.
It was really weird hearing the music again just now.
Yeah, it was. I was
Yeah.
telling you guys behind the scenes what it was like. All right, so for anybody that's listening right now, if you are in the YouTube or Rumble chat, you will see a link that says support Restream. That is the information of how to use your Restream, to enter our Restream room and be a part of the callers. One is a how to use your microphone, and the other one is the link to get in there. We are open to calls. We'll be waiting for people to stack up a little bit before we take our first call. Dale, what about for you, listening to shows for so many years and now I'm actually being on one?
I'd say, well, when I used to listen to Adventures into Reality, I always had a pen and paper because I knew there was going to be certain nuggets you'd say, or there'd be like a unique situation, and I'd get something out of it. So for me, it's exciting because I used to stay up till like 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock sometimes at night. And when the show started, I was just awake and I didn't go to sleep till like 2 a.m. in the morning. So these shows, yeah, they've helped me out beyond words. And I think the best way to describe it is it's so exciting listening to all of these new teachings and everything brought forward. So it means a lot to me. It really did help me at times when I was going through what I was going through. I used to listen to this show and get nuggets of wisdom and inspiration for the next week. So I used to write down what I needed to do, what I learned from the show, and here we are today. I walk the talk and talk the walk, and here I am.
Yeah, I know, Del. I used to, like, the first thing I put on in the morning, because if it was too late for me the night before, it would be the first thing I'd listen to in the morning.
Yes. And how
Yeah,
many years did you do it for, Andrew? A long
10,
time. Yeah.
10. Well, you've got to, I, no, I got to include 2012. 10 and a half years. Yes.
Wow. And what does it feel like coming back to it now?
I was telling you guys in the background, it feels weird. Like I had said, I had to take a break from doing all the call-in shows. It was getting repetitive for me. You get 10 depressies in a row. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Okay? And I have a nickname for you guys that are out there, Depressy. Okay? Or Doom and Gloomer. You can only give 110% effort so many times on a certain call-in show, and then we would get the nuggets, the diamond nuggets that would come through. Okay? And that's why I kept doing it, because there was a delicate balance. Even I knew when we'd get depressy after depressy, it was helping someone. Somebody was learning something somewhere. And I knew that the universe had its own mood. And then there were times, we got good followed by bad, followed by bad, followed by good. And then it's just such a almost chaotic mix of presentations. And, I learned to be consistent and stable all the way through. And it was something that was built inside me. I know there's not very many other people out there that can maintain it for 10 years. Will it come back on a more regular basis? We'll see. I needed to
It's
take a break. I needed to have a new form of creativity for myself, and that's what I've done the last year. The last year with these new teachings.
it's got such a, I'd say, like a legacy behind it. It's a bit like galactic history, all those different parts. It made such
Yeah,
an impact on so many different people.
And then Andrew would have that moment where he'd go really in the flow. Do you remember
oh
that,
yeah,
Dale?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
That was awesome. You'd be completely in that space and just flow. And how you stayed sacred neutral, which is something that you do. I do try and be, but just to see you do it always over all that time, staying neutral. And I know you say that's how you read. That's how you read the Akashic records. You can't do it unless you are sacred neutral. But that is quite a challenge to learn that. To learn that
especially when you
skill.
have to give tough love to somebody.
Yes.
That was
Yeah.
probably the most challenging part. And the roasting developed out of that having to deliver tough love in a neutral state. Because you
Yeah.
get somebody is overwhelmed by whatever subject matter is going on, and they're instantly defaulting to ghosts. And I don't see any ghosts around them. And I go, there are no ghosts around you. Now what? Can we get to some truth of what's going on in you? You've reached a state of paranoia, or you've reached a state where you're looking for everything that's wrong, and that's where you're smelling the mouse fart next door. Statements like that, or the lady that was having issues, and I gave her a Gucci purse and a brick and a gold brick.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
to take out the entities until everyone in the chat room was whacking every entity around them with a Gucci purse and a golden brick.
Yes.
Okay.
Including me. Yeah, that was a superb teaching. Plus the entity that you put in a corner in a dancer's hat.
Yeah, we've done that a few different times. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's some
So I see
very
we got our first caller here. Amaranta, are you there? Hello.
Hi,
Hi. Who's
nice.
that with you?
Andrew Bartzis. Oh my gosh. So it's been since the Lance White days. I've been called on your show many times. And since the last time I've called in, I've had an offspring named Iban.
Ah, hello.
Iban is,
Hello.
yeah. So I just wanted to introduce you to my.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh,
How old is he now? I can't hear you. Are you muted? I can't hear you still. Okay. Got somebody calling in? Hello, hello. Well, while we're waiting for her to get her audio fixed, 1 year. She has a baby. Yay! All right, she's gonna.
Does anyone hear me?
there you
Yeah, we
go.
can hear you now. Yes.
Excellent. Thanks for your patience. So he turns 1 on the 20th of December.
Oh wow, beautiful.
Thank you.
So how have things been since we talked last?
Well, I have been going through a lot of change, a lot of work too. I completed a 2 years worth of a course and became intuitive clairvoyant. I'm a minister, ordained minister through the Church of Natural Grace, and did many psychic readings during the course of 2 years for the public in service to others, and at the same time looking at the matching pictures on what people are bringing up in their lives and seeing how it applies to my life. Ironically, during the course of that work, one of the callers that we had was talking about being a middle-aged woman who had tied her tubes. so we did a healing about, needing the perfect picture in the world, in your life, in order to bring forth a family. So once I destroyed those contracts, I conceived. So here's my magical.
Oh,
Baby.
beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, and he has Mayan and Panamanian Kuna native culture. He's waving hello.
Ah,
So he has indigenous background, and he's very. I've been told he's like an old soul with a lot of wisdom in his eyes. So we just
oh,
wanted to.
he's an old soul, but he's actually in the alpha generation.
Mhm.
So millennials beware.
What does that mean to you, the alpha
Oh,
generation?
that means he will not deal well with people who are not emotionally stable.
Okay,
He will dominate them out of instinct.
that sounds good.
No, it'll be challenging because they will be in their 30s when he's in his teenager. They'll be in their young 30s as he's growing older, and the level of confrontation he's going to have is because they're not emotionally balanced, and he'll be emotionally balanced from birth. And he's going to be a teacher to a lot of them.
He is pretty well composed and well behaved.
Oh, he'll
He's
be
like,
fine. He's a classic alpha. The thing is, once he gets to be a teenager, what you're going to discover, he's not going to take shit from people. He's going to call people out on their emotional instabilities and inabilities to be stable and normal.
okay, that's good.
Yeah?
Yes, very
Because
cool.
he's going to be a leader of all the alphas. He's going to be an alpha pack leader.
All right. Yeah, we named him Iban Liwanu. Liwanu is a tribute to the territory where I have roots in, which is Miwok land, aka Ohlone land, aka San Francisco. And so it's growl of a bear. So when he was in my tummy, we had a lot of bear synchronicities and bear references. So he came out growling, so we gave him growl of the bear.
So in the background on our bus tour, I was nicknamed Snoring Bear,
Nice.
and since then, Snoring Bear has come up with many special teachings. So bear medicine has been a very powerful aspect of my growth since I was a very young age. Also,
Very cool.
yes, the bears have awoken,
Yes, they have.
and now they're hungry.
Yes, absolutely. There was a beautiful thing that happened because I lost my mother when I was 6 to violence, unfortunately. Her name was Gladys. So she was a very doting mother and would have loved to be a grandmother. Ironically, I have this piece of jewelry of hers. I don't have a lot of jewelry of hers, but one of them is an Egyptian ankh. And Ivan's belly button has the shape of an Egyptian ankh. So
Oh wow!
I wanted to ask you what your vibes were about that.
So when children come through with marks on their belly button, it represents the many dozens of lifetimes the mother and the child were bonded for a higher purpose. It's like a special stamp that comes through, that comes up on the belly button. The fact that it's in the shape of an ankh means it's a symbol of power between the mother and the son, or the mother and the daughter, or the mother and the children. And that particular power represents the journey you went through to be able to be pregnant, the journey you went through to become a professional psychic, and actually doing that as a career versus doing something else. Meaning that's going to be as part of his fundamental energies. He still needs to be a kid growing up. Remember you that before he has to get open to all the spiritual world. Let him be a kid for as long as he can. Okay? And you just watch the skills come out and you teach him the basics of how to keep his life clean and let him get the experience of faith as he grows. Because it's already built into him. You don't want him to start him too early or you won't be able to be a kid.
Okay. Yeah, he was in my womb, while I was doing psychic readings for,
Yeah, but that's part of why he has the stamp.
Yeah.
Okay? He came in knowing that he was going to do that.
I see.
Okay? Does that mean he's going to be a reader when he grows up? No, it means he'll have all those skills built into him, and he'll decide what he wants to do as he grows.
I've been going through sort of a challenge with mold in my life. It's been following me since like 2019, and I can't ditch it all the way yet. I've been trying really hard. I've become hypersensitive to a certain species that I lived with in a tiny home, and trying to clean it up, and it just it's still lingering, and it's still kind of gives me a lot of body pain when I'm exposed to it. Do you have any ideas on how to break that contract with this mold? Because I've been working on
So
that.
first thing first, you said it's mold in a tiny home.
I've moved out of the tiny home, but yes, that's when I first got all of my belongings infested with the mold spores, is when they opened the ceiling and the landlord didn't resolve it in the right way.
Okay. And since then, you've been having ongoing sensitivity to its growth. To it, is it still mold sporing around you?
It's kind of in our belongings. So a lot of my stuff that was in this loft, which is where they opened up the ceiling, went to a storage unit. So every time we get something out of the storage unit, we run the risk of bringing the spores home. And we try really hard to do the remediation as carefully as we can, but it's been, finding ways to creep back in. And then once something, rubs up against it, then now the couch is contaminated.
Right.
I've got.
So
Go ahead.
is it just a standard storage unit that you have? Is like an indoor outdoor storage unit? Or like what kind of storage unit is it?
Yeah, it's just a standard climate-controlled commercial storage unit that people rent.
Okay, so it is climate controlled. Okay. So
Yes.
what you can do as part of the mold remediation is go get a small ozone generator and stick it inside there on a timer so that it turns on for 4 hours a day, once a day, and that will begin to kill the mold. The next thing you need to do is at some point you need to pull everything out of that storage container and separate it so that the additional spores have to blow out of it, and put a fan on it on that stuff for a couple hours. You got to get the excess spores because that's what's going to keep the thing going. Also, because it's in a temperature controlled system, the mold's always in a growth situation. So you got to kill it off or get rid of the stuff. And that's just an unfortunate part of mold. As for sensitivity to the mold, the best thing for you is being able to do hyperbaric chambers.
Okay, that's interesting. I hadn't considered a hyperbaric chamber before, so I'll have to do my research on what that looks like. So thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a lot of places now that offer what's called mild hyperbaric chamber instead of the full 100% oxygen, and those will work just as good. A lot of chiropractors, doctors' offices have them in there, and you can go and get sessions on your own with that. That's a great way to get rid of mold sensitivity, if not the best way to get rid of mold sensitivity. And then ozone generators. That's the other thing. Have them in your spaces, your home, that instantly kills mold spores, and they get them so that it doesn't overfill your room up with ozone. So it's a delicate balance. And you can go online and find all different versions, from commercial level ones to, ones that just plug into the cigarette lighter in your car.
We have one, and we've been using the car as sort of a zapping station. So I will continue to utilize the ozone.
Yeah, but the thing is, the one that plugs into the car is so small.
Yes.
It's never actually doing anything to the actual mold of you pulling stuff in and out of a locker, a storage room.
Okay, that makes
Like
sense.
it's so small. Ozone generators for the car are just there to get rid of smell, so cops can't say they smell weed or alcohol. That's all that it does. It just covers up smell. It kills the smell.
For the rental cars, right? That's
Or the rental cars, exactly.
for all the shenanigans.
Yeah.
Okay, that's very cool.
For your vehicle, the best thing to do is pull it up to your front of your garage and go grab a box fan, open up all the doors, and just leave the box fan blowing inside the car for about an hour or two. That'll simulate like you're driving on the road. That'll force all the existing mold spores to either leave the vehicle or embed themselves into corners. and then you just begin regular detail vacuuming of the car, and you'll get rid of those mold spores.
Okay, that's a good plan. And I've called you like maybe my 5th time now, and I've never had the courage to ask my galactic origins. Do you still do that?
I still do that. Yes, some people are ready, some people aren't. You are Pleiadian.
I figured as much. Okay.
Now, a lot of people say you say Palladian a lot. Well, that's a big cycle of incarnation here, and a very common cycle of incarnation of people that have come here for the grander experience of what this awakening means for everyone. And the Palladian society in their homeworlds are going through their own sets of changes because new souls had to come in and take over the old souls' positions and elevate that culture. So you came in as an old soul when you were there, and then you came in as an old soul here, and that's part of the grander process of old souls having to go through these brand new, unique experiences on Earth with things like false light and whole false gods and all those other teachings that didn't exist really on other worlds the way they did here.
Is that having anything to do with my abilities as an artist? I am a pretty good painter. It's what I've been doing as a career for a long time.
What kind of painting?
Well, I'd love to show you if I may. Here's one that had a fun story. I sold it and it came back to me.
Beautiful.
I didn't have paintbrushes at the time, so I had to use paint markers, squeezing the paint out with Q-tips and napkins.
Wow, it's great detail in the hair. Beautiful.
Thank you. And then here's a wolfie.
Wow, great detail in that too.
Thank you. And then this one I did when I was 16.
Wow.
16.
That's detail.
Yes. So
the depth in the eyes, wow.
And then this is the latest one that's not done yet, but this guy was calling to me. So they kind of called to me. That's an octopus. This is sorry, the baby's needing some blueberries.
I'm used to it, don't worry. So when the different animals call to you, do they call to you in dreams? How do they call to you?
Just kind of the standard synchronicity situation where the last one was a dream. The last one was a killer orca whale. So the orca whale in the dream was a baby, and it had in the dream a Sharpie marker on its back. So it's a very direct message to say, please draw me. And then I have to remember the dream, which I did. So now the next one in queue is a whale.
Okay. So when it comes to the journey of inspiration, sometimes you have to trigger inspiration. And what may be a good idea for you is to start having like a picture album of thousands of different animals. Just grab pictures off a line and start throwing them into a picture book, and just let that picture book play in the background over and over again. So every time you walk by it, that the thing's putting on a new picture and a new picture, and that can help stimulate some more of those higher forms of communication.
Okay, kind of like where we can have a photo album running on the iPad.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That's cool. That's a good idea.
It's constantly running. It's to say, just download as many as you can. 2, 3. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. How are you selling those?
I'm not at the moment, but I have an Etsy page. I'm trying to kind of pivot by setting up an Etsy business so that I can make reproductions, print on demand business, so that I can have more time at home with the baby versus being on a ladder or painting murals, because that's what I was doing before the baby and also while I was pregnant. And now it's how it is with moms. We have to.
Do you have the Etsy page already?
I do. It's the name of the shop is Amaranta Creates. I'll put it in the chat, but it's spelled Amaranta Creates. And then my website is amaranta-art.com, Amaranta art.com. And, I am a healer, and all of these are created with a lot of intentionality and with galactic alignments, like the Lionsgate portal of 2015. That was a big one this year. That's when that's when this painting was made. So it was done during a moment in space-time that had a lot of power behind it. Same with this wolf. It was the Blue Blood Wolf Moon. I don't know if we remember that one back in 2019. Yep. We had the Blue Blood Wolf Moon. So that's why I made this one here. So they're, when I make them, I can't really go back and work on them later because that moment is imprinted in the art.
Of time, yeah, slice of time and space. Yes, beautiful.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah. I love the butterfly.
Yeah. So
the irony, when I was first introduced to the butterfly medicine, I had like a forked experience, two experiences at once. One, the traditional butterfly, and another version of the butterfly that represented joy in a very specific format. And it's the battle to get joy. And what I saw was a hummingbird that had armor on it, like a horse. Yes.
Very interesting.
And I would ride that hummingbird to the battle of joy. Wow. To force joy in myself. Not in others, but the battle for joy, the battle for happiness, because in a world of depression and doom and gloom, creating joy for myself. And that was the warrior of joy energy. It was really special for me. And it's one of those things that's just a fundamental part of me. And anybody that knows gets to know me on a private level. I'm a very happy, very joyful person. Not a lot of stuff sticks to me or gets to me. And I can just create joy instantly for myself. It's the greatest gift I ever learned.
I love that. Yes, I try to, follow what you say about staying in that sacred neutral, turn off the news, the doom and gloom, and just be really present, because I find that the Creator gives me those opportunities to create joy in my own life without focusing outwardly on what everyone else has going on. I think it's not bad right now. So, yeah.
Wonderful. We gotta move on to the next caller. Thanks for calling in.
Happy solstice, everyone. And
happy solstice to you. Thanks for calling. Oh, beautiful baby. Lots of wishes. Best luck.
Bye-bye.
And to you. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye. Wow. Those
paintings are amazing. Yes.
Wow.
Wow, a regular caller and then to see her with her baby afterwards. That's just, reminds me of why I did these shows. All right, Joel, we want to bring on the next caller? Okay. All right, everybody that is listening right now, go on into the chat room, and there is a link there that can allow you to come on the Restream room and have some personal time, a mini session with me. And all you little chicken shits out there, I'll call you out.
I was waiting for you to say that.
That's something else I regularly did, call people chicken shits.
Yeah.
Remember you said it to me on a call-in once, when the one call-in I did called me a chicken shit, and I was like, yeah, I am.
I had a lot of good one-liners. Time to put on the big girl pants.
Yeah.
Suck it up, buttercup.
Yeah, suck it up, buttercup, yeah.
And now you've got some, I don't know if it's new or not, but you've got the demon hole, which is, I use that a lot.
Yeah, that was actually from a show in 2020. 2020, yeah. The demon hole. Don't put your pee-pee in the demon hole.
And one of my favorites is, how's that working out?
How's that working out for you?
Something you used with me, and I've never forgotten it.
And how was it working out for you, Laura? Back then.
It did make me question. It's a really, really good question, actually. That ought to be on a t-shirt. So, Can you elaborate? You were talking about this lovely baby with the markings around the belly button.
Yeah, it's a stamp, spiritual stamp from mother to son, about passing on the energy of psychic creativity, artistic creativity, and that's he's come in to do that work, but he still has to make the free will choice to go down that direction.
Okay, so he would have been with the same, or whoever has this would be with the same mother lifetime
Yeah, they've been
after
together
lifetime?
many times and done this before.
Okay. Do they ever
Oh,
swap
many times.
roles?
Yes, that's the whole
Or is
point.
it
Is they
always
swap roles all the time. Yeah.
okay? Okay.
And
All right.
sometimes the
And what
mother
about
dies, and it's the husband has to raise the child also. So all that happens too.
what have you said about birthmarks before as well?
They have a huge significance. It all depends where it is, what it looks like. But they're marks from other lifetimes. They could also be lineage birthmarks too that denote the change in the lineage, or if the lineage is not changing, or the lineage is expanding or contracting. There's lots of things it can represent.
Right.
Going back to that children comment where you're saying about just letting the child grow up, that was really beneficial when I heard that on my reading. When the light work in me was trying to strategize how I'm going to bring them up, teach them meditation, all of that. And there was just such a release and freedom came when I just was like, right, that's all I need to do is let them be kids for as long as possible. And I can see how uniquely beautiful and beneficial that is to a child. And to not be able to taint or try and push spirituality in any way on them until they're old enough, obviously, come out of childhood. That was huge for me, that one.
Yeah. You could teach a child faith,
Yes.
but don't have to show them all the teachings and the practice.
There you go.
And I can't tell you how many people called me, and my child's going to be a psychic. The first words that come out of their mouth are going to be prayer words. And I'd have that sigh moment where I'd have to say, you got to let them be a child. I cannot tell you how many people who are adults now and have called me, and spirituality was brought onto them at a very early age, and they knew nothing else. They never had real childhoods. They just developed too fast and took on all these adult mental pathways that didn't allow their natural neural pathways to create.
And that's it. If you're forcing spirituality a little bit or pushing it on them, a lot of them turn around to hate it.
Yep. Turn around to hate it, and they go down a different path. Or they see it, they'll never see it as a career.
Yes.
Okay? It's always just something in the background that they deal with on their own personal time, but they want to be normal. Okay? And that's, for those parents who want them to be, super psychic, super this, they got to choose it. You can't force it on them like parents who want you to be a doctor before you're born, and you have no choice. You're going to be a doctor or a lawyer. You're going to go to what they want you to do.
I think one of the best ways is just getting interaction with the natural world, isn't it?
That's the best thing to do, is as much interaction with the natural world as possible. And what does that look like? Camping, hiking, fishing, mountain climbing, parachuting,
fires, gathering
woods, learning how to track animals, bird watching. Okay?
Yeah. All the nature stuff.
More than just that, it's the passion of it. The passion to do it versus watching a TV show.
Yeah.
Or the passion to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, pack the car, and go camping for the weekend. Okay? Planning ahead of time. And then there's, all the water sports. A lot of people see recreational water sports as not natural living. To me, that's a whole different form of natural living.
Yeah.
The water was a powerful tool. Like the kids in the indigenous ages had their canoes, their baby canoes, and had plenty of races and fun in the water. Okay? To think that they didn't was dumb. Okay? They may not have a power boat, but every indigenous kid around the world that had access to a water tried to make the fastest canoe in the world. Okay? the best paddle, whatever it was, the fastest. Racing is as old as the first profession and the second profession. People raced horses, raced birds, race. There's everything. And water sports are one of those things that are deeply, deeply ingrained into human culture.
Because I feel that is the most beneficial for them, is fun, just joy and fun, and
Pure joy and fun.
yeah, nothing
You know,
can.
I made the relation above the warrior hummingbird for joy. I cannot tell you how powerful of a teaching that was for me, at a time where not life was dark, it was cloudy, gloomy, and not from what I was creating. It was just the way the world was at that time. Just the way the world was at the time, and it was before the internet. Okay, where you still had dial-up telephones. Okay.
Well,
Every night, Israel and Hamas were battling each other, and we're expecting World War III. Okay, I was forced to watch the news every night, no matter what. I had no choice. Okay, I hated it, but I still had no choice. I had to watch it. It was the thing my parents forced on us all the time. Every election forced to watch the debates and the vice presidential debates, and I'm like, I'm never going to vote for any of these morons. They're all worthless. Okay. Okay, I understand politics and have a unique way to see it and perceive it and help others deal with it as a system of distraction that takes away from your ability to even have any form of natural living. Okay, we could bring her in as soon as she comes in.
And that's it. Was like, I think one of my favorite memories was going around the field playing, like, battles and hide and seek and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's really special memories of playing hide and seek in the woods.
Amy's right. That was another one of yours, Andrew. And now what?
And now what?
Yeah, it was.
I saw a Palladian spinning. And now what?
And now what?
And now what?
So you've done that, and now what?
Yeah.
So we've got someone in the waiting room. We have Dee, so I'll just bring her on.
Okay. Hello, how you doing?
I'm mid-meltdown, I'll be honest. And the first time I've ever called in anything, ever, but they'll encourage me to just try do it anyway.
You want to put your camera by your face so we don't look at your ceiling?
No, I really don't. Sorry.
Okay, then just turn off your camera if you're sensitive. We can still hear you.
Yeah, I don't even know how to do that. Is that off now? Okay.
Yeah, you're off. Okay, where are you calling from?
Where am I? North England.
North England.
Literally don't know.
How long you been listening to the show for?
Ever since last wife, and pretty much everything that you shared, and I've got to say, you have saved me so many times, or you have taught me how to.
Like, what are some of the things you learned?
Oh gosh. Pretty much, you've taught me everything I know, or have reminded me and my soul about stuff that I knew but never heard it from another human being. And then how to actually use that knowledge to not get sucked into trying to be so-called normal human that obviously wasn't working for me ever. Yeah.
Well, you're on the show. What do you want to talk about? Here you are after all this time.
I know. I'm not entirely sure what I'd like to talk about now that I'm actually, like I said, I'm kind of giving it a meltdown. I tend to live on the edge of some kind of emotion that, whether it's frustration, fury, tears, devastation.
Darling, it's really, really hard to hear you. Can you come closer to the computer?
Yeah. So I'm just kind of living on the edge at the moment of all the emotions that are so overpowering. and I'm trying not to, let it all kind of basically ruin my children. I've got two beautiful children, and I don't want to affect them to the point where they grow up broken like I did. So yeah, multiple times really.
All right. Well, I'm reading your energy here. You are an overwhelmed energy. You know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Why are you living in overwhelmed energy? Because this is a choice.
I feel like
because this is a choice. Overwhelming is a choice.
is it?
Oh, absolutely it is. At any moment in time, you can tone down the energies that are affecting you. So why do you have to live this overwhelming pace? Because it's the way you were taught growing up. And you're not that child anymore. So what you have to do is have to have regular talks to your body about slowing down, not taking on and not onboarding so much information or anything from other people. And you got to try to achieve a silent state of mind on a regular basis. That is how you counteract overwhelming energy, out of choice. Acknowledging the choice that you're overwhelmed and acknowledging that you have to lower that stress level inside yourself. Otherwise, what ends up happening is the trauma of overvigilance, and now never being able to take breaks for yourself. You have those two wonderful children. You got to let that be your motivation to be able to take regular time. And it's more than just 45 minutes in the bathtub in between raising the kids. You need to be able to recharge and rejuvenate your batteries on a regular basis.
I know that.
It's really breaking up. How
Yeah,
far
you're
are you
breaking
on the
up.
internet? What's your?
I'm
Are you on
right
Wi-Fi?
next to the Wi-Fi box. So
Yeah, we can barely
right next to
understand
the
what you're saying.
Wi-Fi.
You're breaking up.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, we
I
can't
agree.
understand. Yeah, but we can't understand what you're saying. Your voice is breaking up.
I'm not quite sure. I don't. Right,
Are you using Google Chrome or are you on another are you on another browser?
yeah, I've gone through Google Chrome. I've found it, and tried to log in. But can you hear me now?
All right. We can hear you, but we can't really understand you.
Are you on Wi-Fi or are you using 4G, 3G?
I'm on Wi-Fi.
Okay, so
I'm
how
stood
far are you away from the router now in the house?
right next to it.
We could try a little bit. She dropped. All right. Do we have anyone else in the waiting room?
Yes, Paulina, which I'll
Okay,
bring her on.
let's bring in Paulina. Paulina, how's it going?
Hi, do you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you good.
Yeah, good. The sound is a little double for me. I hear you like twice.
Do you have the radio on in the background?
No.
That would be the only thing I can really think of that would be getting echoing.
Okay, well, let's try this. So now, do you hear me now? Yeah.
Yep, I hear you. You're good.
Okay, good. Thank you. Yeah, I was thinking about ancestral karma. That's been coming up a lot for me lately, and a lot of clearing needing to be done for myself and also for my clients, coaching clients. A lot of ancestral karma being resurfaced. So I don't know if you could talk like what you feel and the energy from me right now, or just general conversation.
Well, there's a little bit of both. The energy that's coming from you right now is about mastering ancestral clearing and the varieties that it's going to come at you in. Okay? Mastering ancestral clearing is knowing the fine print in the contracts that go way back and how the fine print is transferred forward to modern, more recent contracts. So part of it is the book work of understanding how contracts are written from age to age to age, and how that age translates into another age. Like a contract for ancestral karma for a family abuse in the 1600s is a different contract in this modern era now, because abuse is very different than it was then. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
You then have to break down what the original contract was and then how it mistranslated into the modern time. And then for clearing of the ancestral karma, you can clear it, but the person will bring it back if they fall back to bad habits. And that's something that you just have to know. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So you can clear and clear and clear and clear, and the person's like, well, it keeps coming back, and then you have to address the habit pattern that keeps bringing it back, which is the next form of coaching that's going to be asking for you, because you're going to run into a lot of people where you clear the karma, and yet they keep bringing it back. And having a person stuck in repetitive karma where you're constantly coaching and clearing can be very tiring on you. And you'll have to up your level of game where you have to put it on them to actually maintain the clear process. And that's why it's coming up for you now.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, because I had a client today as well, and I saw the karma very clearly, and when they are not ready to receive it with the mind, it's a little balancing act, how much to give and not.
Right. That's why you have to master the whole journey of explaining to them the nature of the contract that they came in with, and that you explain to them in such a way that there's only so much that can be cleared if you keep bringing it back. Now, their human mind can understand that. They may not do anything with that, but that's okay. That's why you have to have a system for them to fall back on that limits this that shows them the repetition process, where they have to pick up their own daily practice.
Mm. Yeah, and I also had a dream space coming into this person. It was almost like the dream space came in and took energy from it, like it lured that person into the dream space. So they were stuck in one dream space as well as this karma thing.
All right, so that dream space was probably being passed on from another lifetime, in which that was a magical practitioner. Depending on, they may have not been well skilled, but they knew enough to be dangerous. And knowing enough to be dangerous is not that you're dangerous as a weapon, you just know enough to get in trouble. And that's being passed on from lifetime to lifetime to lifetime. There are soul shards that are still stuck in that dream frequency that the new soul and the new lifetime has to figure out shamantically to recover itself. Part of reclaiming into the modern future all aspects of your pieces, parts, and selves.
So yeah, because we didn't have time to go into that version with the dream space, how to handle that. But would that be okay to do? Because I want the client to do the process themselves, so they get the information and the knowledge. So I don't just do things for them. So
that's the best way to do it, is to show them how to do it. You may have to coach them through it a couple times or do the first or second clearing, but then you have your system to fall back on that is about them being able to do the work on their own when you're not there.
Yeah, exactly. So what I saw in that dream space was almost like it was a space, and from another dream space came a being into that dream space that were attached to her. So it was like many dream spaces attached to each other.
Yep, that's because it came from a past life and had been passed down to several different I-ams over a few hundred years.
Yeah.
That's the original person that created it, as I said, knew enough about magic to be dangerous to themselves and got themselves a big chunk of themselves trapped in this odd intersecting dream world. And then when they passed, it was not resolved in the life review, and the next baby was born, and they brought that in as something to resolve. That person couldn't resolve it, passed on. Somebody in there tried to resolve it, made it worse, and it keeps getting passed on until someone has the pure sovereignty teachings to be able to reclaim it. And those soul surgery techniques it takes to reintegrate it back into the body, even though that's not the original body it came from.
Yeah. Okay, now. Yes, I see now how to do that.
Yeah. And that chunk that's stuck there is probably a highly creative chunk. And the soul needs it back. It's got to give it the task each lifetime to somebody to figure out the magical system and techniques to reintegrate it to the body so it can go through a natural life review during the next death phase.
Yeah, so you could go through revisiting certain dream spaces to go back into that originated. Yes. Okay, yeah. Very good. And is that also because she was having dreams where she processed a lot of her things right now, and I've been experiencing the same thing for myself. Like I go into certain dream spaces, and in my dreams I do the same thing over and over again. Is that also related to that?
What are you experiencing from your end?
From in my dreams, I've been having dreams where I go to a certain retreat space for many months. I had different places, sometimes on a boat, sometimes on a hotel. But now last night it was on a whole island with a collective space with many people. So it changed and it enlarged compared to the other versions that I've been having for the past few months. But it's still a retreat space with a certain particular type of people.
What type of people?
Those who are interested in spiritual growth and wanting to form a collective or some sort of community within spirituality.
So that represents the entire potential list of clients you'll have your whole lifetime. Okay? That's what that's representing. And the fact that the dream space is expanding like that meaning your journey of solidifying the coach, the reader, the healer, is reaching a state where it's solidifying in such a way that you're expanding your entire potential client list. And that's why it's a retreat place.
Okay, yeah.
That's because you're mastering your unique signature frequency. And expressing that unique signature frequency without other people, places, or subject matter suppressing it.
Okay, yes, because other parts of the dream is where I deal with emotional things related to my personal things, all about. But so I dream a lot about that. And I keep wondering, is this somehow a world where this trauma also exists and we're going through things in this version of reality, or is that just me trying to heal subconsciously or something?
All right, so once again, that's a future, space of the future. It isn't healed in you in the now, and you're going into the infinite potential future dream space and going through the many different versions of what it takes to heal it. So you're experiencing many different versions of healing, but it's also teaching how to be a more powerful healer as you find the right signature frequency that's going to match that healing of that personal trauma. It's a way of training yourself for all the different potential clients while you're in search for your own personal healing. It's on the journey of being the healed healer. You heal yourself enough so you can heal others, and you're absolutely at that stage. You've healed yourself where you can heal others, but you're also at a state, healing is an ongoing event, and the particular journey that you're on right now, with all that whole subject matter, you're using the potential future dream world to learn many, many new forms of healing, even though it may not be the specific healing you need to heal your individual trauma. But you're on the search for that special healing you need. And it's a dreaming treat. That's why it's coming as a retreat place also.
Yes, and I actually took your advice and did my own healing on myself the other day, and the results were amazing. I was like a new person after, so I'm so grateful for that you've been pushing on to that. Yeah.
It's important that healers heal themselves.
Yeah.
If anybody out there that's a healer, you got to put yourself on your own table once a month, if not twice or three times a month. You got to learn to use your skills on yourself. And once you're able to do that, fully experience how good you can really be, you become so much better with clients.
Yes. Yes, it really, really works. As I said, I was a new person after 1 hour session with myself. Yeah.
How often are you working on yourself now?
Now I'm doing it a lot more. So maybe, yeah, every day I do it actually.
Good.
Yes, I do.
And it's important that you see the money getting paid to yourself through your crown chakra. You got to see the spiritual payment. It's pay it forward to yourself by doing a healing on yourself. And any of that money that comes in, you're spending on yourself from yourself. Okay? And it doesn't
Yes.
matter what it is that you buy with it, because it's part of your creativity and your expansion of growth.
I actually did that. I spend that money and go out to dinner and have amazing times with that money. So I actually follow that advice very
It
carefully.
makes a huge difference. It really makes a huge difference when you
Yeah.
do that. Okay?
Yes. And I've
I'm
also
gifting
had,
myself a special dinner after healing myself. Damn it, I'm good.
yes, exactly. And I had a reflection about giving and receiving today because I felt like I have been over giving for my whole life, actually. And now I see the imbalance that creates within oneself and also for everyone I meet if I do not receive. So could you
Yeah.
talk a little about that?
Well, you've got 90% of the teaching right there. If you can't receive, you can't give at the same level, even though we try and try and try and try. And once we start receiving the good tidings and wishings and energies from other, it expands our total potentials into whole new levels of experience. So if you're give, 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 but will not receive, you're cut off from the universe. You're only operating at 50% of your potential.
I
So
see.
the
I see
message
that
is,
in
yeah. Go ahead, Dave.
psychic surgery, Andrew. Is a lot of people find it harder giving themselves healings and giving other people healings. As soon as they turn it inwards, they find it so hard. And it's something I've had to do. I probably give myself a session once a week, maybe twice a week now, and I have to upkeep that because as soon as I stop upkeeping it, it becomes harder. So I definitely think at least once every 2 weeks for yourself. There's another really cool thing you can do is where you send a treatment forward in time and receive the heat treatment and give yourself a treatment as well. So say if you sent the treatment to next Tuesday at 7 p.m., you accept that treatment, but you give yourself a treatment as well. So you have two treatments on top of each other. That's a really cool, unique experience to do as well.
Yeah. I've talked about that over and over again. Paulina, have you tried sending treatments forward in time?
Yes, I have. Yes.
How does that work for you?
Yeah, it's good. At this moment in time, I'm focusing on the now because the now has been calling for that. But yeah, but I have tried that, and I know I noticed big results afterwards. Yes.
Yeah, very,
Andrew,
very important.
is the inability to receive or the reluctance to receive, is that part of a self-worth issue?
Yes. Self-worth, it can be vanity, it can be a whole variety of emotional circumstances that prevent the acceptance of good wishes from others.
So it's almost
Or
like a program or a conditioning.
it can be a program, but it's something that's developed into a very intense rejection system. System of rejection versus program. And the
A good
programs
way.
may use the system of rejection.
It's also almost a martyring in some ways, though, isn't it? Because there's only
It does come
one
down
way
to
of
martyring.
energy.
Yeah, usually that's a big part of it, martyring. Giving away until you have nothing for yourself. It's classic martyring.
A good one as well, Paulina, would be sending prayers forward for the treatment. So you're sending prayers of relaxation so your body can be in a relaxed state when you're giving yourself the treatment. That's a good one as well. It's just getting those prayers ready forward in time for yourself.
Okay. She's dealing with the now moment, and she can send just standard prayers to the future now moments that can intensify her normal now moments. There's many ways to strategize at sending stuff to potential futures. Just a prayer to be even more in the now, and then accepting in that moment of now that I can be more than this moment of now.
Yeah, because what happened when I was in the now very intensely and called in all of myself, first there were like 5, then there were 10, then were hundreds, and then thousands, then millions of selves coming in. So it was very powerful and strong. So I can imagine when you
It's trying to show you how much you should be manifesting here. When that many come in, that's how much strength you have to work with others. Imagine if there's 1 million of you in the now to counsel and coach a person.
Yeah.
Things that can be accomplished. Okay?
Yes, exactly.
Okay?
Yeah. And that made me think about the multidimensional selves, because I heard you talking, I've been listening to your old shows for a few days now, and you talked about, there was one woman calling in and she was asking about, can we have 2 or 3 lifetimes parallel now, in this now? And you said you can have thousands, like you can have how many you would like. Could you talk a little about that?
Sure. The average person right now is in a minimum of 4 human bodies and 5 to 6 animal type bodies simultaneously. Okay? And then there are others that come in 200, 300 at a time because they have a lot to resolve or have a specific mission plan. They may be living 200 lives. One may live 10 years, one may live 7 years, one may live 90 years. But they're there for a cycle of an age. Like from the turn of the century to the turn of the 20th, turn of the 19th century to the 20th century, 20 to 21st. And if you have parts of you that are living all throughout that age, you have age-based wisdom that gets very expansive for the soul.
So with that, could you meet another version of yourself then?
Yes, happens all the time. And fall in love with yourself and have children and offspring with yourself. Happens all the time.
I remember you talking about. I remember we did. Was it a past life that we might have been in Scotland? Which I was really like when you said about past lives as well. It's not just this timeline and past lives from this life. It's all of the realities and all timelines in blended into one. And I was like, a holy fuck, ha ha moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how would you know? For example, for me, how many lives do I have parallel now going on?
235.
All right. In different countries then.
Well, hold on. 235, but we'll say 206 of them are human, and the rest of them are animals, dolphins, whales, bears, tigers, elephants, etc. And you're holding an ancient elder space for those particular animal communities. And as for living, you're spread all over the world, but you have several of your own self living in New York City, several in Los Angeles, several in a variety of other places. Have they met each other? A few have met each other, and they're friends. Okay? They're it's like you ever met somebody you're just a close friend with? That's a potential. It could be a copy of you, but it doesn't mean it is. Okay?
Mm-hmm. And what does that mean when you're drawn to yourself in those other lifetimes?
It's part of a bigger spiritual plan. What does the self have to learn about itself with different forms of contracts and different circumstances for each self?
So that, because I've had a longing to go to New York and I feel at home. As soon as I come into New York, I feel at home. So is that part of the reason? Like there's a karma from the
It's a draw, but you've lived in New York other lifetimes. Okay, and you have a regular, contact with those that live in New York City in through the dream world. You're interconnected to all your other living selves through the dream world. Okay?
Okay, and the animal realms, You said I'm here to hold the space for that. What does that
No, that
mean?
you're an ancient elder in those places.
Mm-hmm.
You're an elder soul that stays incarnating in a lineage because many of the animal communities have lost their elders.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So you've stayed incarnating in a lineage to make sure that that lineage doesn't lose its elders during the time of the great transition into remembering and awakening.
Hmm. Okay. And is that what you see? Because I saw a video of the Aurora Borealis and the Northern Lights, and I saw a bear in the structure of that light. Is that part of connecting to that?
Yes, because that's the dreaming lodge of the great bears, the great medicine bears, the hibernating medicine bears. There were
And how?
many shamans, the shamans of the indigenous worlds, who could transform, like shape-shifting, into bears. Bears, ravens, mountain lions, foxes. They naturally had shape-shifting abilities, or earned them shape-shifting abilities through the rituals and ceremonies they did.
And the animals living here on Earth plane, are they able to connect to spirit realm of bears,
Oh
for
yeah,
example?
oh yeah. They have their own relationship to spirit world. Yes, they do. They don't have television. They don't have cell phones. Okay. Many
Yeah.
of them don't even have many of them don't even have opposable thumbs. Okay.
Yeah,
No Facebook.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, so this opens up a whole new world when you are 235 versions of selves, and what to do with that? Is that something we can use for something?
Sure. Have a reunion. Call out to all 235 and say we're having a Paulina reunion party 2023. Okay?
All
And
right.
invite them to come and to be a part of the reunion party.
Okay.
Okay. Send them all
Yeah.
RSVPs.
Yeah, and you bring the ancestors as well then, seven
Yeah, you
forward.
bring the ancestors. Some grandmother version of you will cook. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Like if
Yeah.
you were to have a reunion of all yourselves and you were the party planner, what would you do? That's where you start. I'm the party planner. I've sent
Mm-hmm.
out all my invitations. Okay. Who's going to RSVP? Okay. Now you got to start planning the party.
I think I'm very focused on the healing part. Like I want to heal all the karma and trauma so we get rid of all of that.
Yeah, but you'd be healing more karma by just having the reunion versus individually doing all those healings. It's a
Really?
natural karmic healing through reunion. Those that
Mm-hmm.
all show up out of free will to figure out who you are and who each other are.
Think
Think
of
of
all
the
the
karmic
good people.
resolution just through the reunion energy.
Mm.
And all
That's a
that
great one.
cooking,
Yes.
all that cooking, Paulina, ancestral,
Yeah.
all the healing within the cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. A lot of
Okay.
soup. Yeah.
Exactly. The healing can be in the cooking.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what would you cook for your 235 versions of yourself?
I would do something easy to cook, a good soup.
You're gonna give you're gonna be cheap and just give them soup. Come
I
on.
was waiting for that. I was waiting.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've not come
Come on.
A little lazy. Yeah. A little lazy. Yeah, I would be.
Okay.
Yeah, I have it.
You could have it catered.
Exactly. Then
Okay.
it would be
Cater
different.
the rich to
What's
grandmothers
your
and
catering what's your catering menu gonna be? If you add those details to the meditation process of creating it, it's a huge resolution journey. Because that might determine if somebody RSVPs you.
All right.
Okay, what's on the menu?
Yeah. And what determines how many versions of yourself you split yourself up into?
Oh, that's up to the higher soul. What its bigger, unique purpose is for having that many lifetimes.
So is it like you want to affect more of your surroundings or take more in of the learning?
In your situation, there were certain soul families you had to be a part of, because if you wouldn't, they would have fallen apart. So even if you came in as a 9-year-old kid and died when you were 10, or came in and lived all the way through the life, you're anchoring a frequency in the living world that allows new ancestors to come into the lineage. That's why you're in so many different lineages. You're an anchor frequency in the inviting process to come and live in that lineage, and can not let that lineage fall to the wayside and not be occupied anymore and then fade out of existence. Or extinct.
Is this what helps the elders to return now?
Yes, the living elders in the physical bodies. Even if they don't know they're a living elder, that's many of your versions of yourself don't know they have this power. And don't even want to explore it, because they're living the white picket fence life, which was planned from the beginning for them. They just needed to be a spirit anchoring the energy.
So they are holding a certain vibration that spreads far out.
Yes, very far out. That's why you're in so many lineages.
Yeah, and I could feel that when I brought all the millions of myself into this healing session, I could feel my energy from this physical body expanding so much. Then I thought this must be, people must be able to feel or sense this vibration because it's so strong, people surrounding. So I'm guessing that's also how the other versions of myself are affected then.
Or they're all vibrating the same thing, just all at a different level of power. And by you having the vision to bring them all together, was synchronizing everybody's vibration to be in syncopation, like an orchestra sheet music, from saxophone to piano to drums, etc. The orchestra of your many selves creating the unique music that's the many use.
Is that like being your own hub of interconnectivity?
Yes, it is exactly that, being your own hub of interconnectivity.
Could you say something more about that?
Okay, so hub of interconnectivity represents a state that we earn in awareness that allows us to connect to the 10,000 past generations and the 10,000 future generations and resolve karmas through the good work that we do this lifetime.
And do we all come in with a lot of karma, or are some people having less karma and only being
there are many people born karma free, because they worked hard in dozens of other lifetimes to clear up the karma, so that they could have a pure free will lifetime ahead of them. Free will to fuck up or free will to be great. It was their personal choice, and there was no karmic influence. It's very common, like I said, very common for people to come in with no karma or tons of karma or a medium amount of karma. Somebody is asking, would it be freaky if one of herselves was listening right now? Yes, it would be. It happened on other shows.
You have to ask them when they come to your party, Paulina.
Yes, exactly.
If they tuned in. Andrew, are the alpha generation more likely to have less karma, or not necessarily?
Oh, they're going to have very specific karma that challenges boomers to Gen X to Gen Y, Gen Z, and Zoomers and boomers. They're going to challenge everyone. They're going to attempt to be alpha male, alpha female. And I'm going to have the energy and the spirit contracts to back it up. But they still need our generation's wisdom. We have to learn from our traumas, and that's ultimately what we can teach the alpha generation, so they don't have to go through the trauma to learn it. So alpha will have specific karmas. Like, let's say they come into a family that has verbal abuse in it. What will end up happening is, at a young age, that child will not verbally challenge, but emotionally challenge the verbal abuse. And as more verbal abuse is dumped onto that child, the more they will do to succeed in the world in spite of everything else.
Yeah, I
So no
can.
matter how much verbal abuse you want to traumatize that child with, you will only make them stronger in their life to be super successful. They will transmute the verbal abuse into success.
Yes, I've seen that already in a sort of a stroppiness.
Yep. Yep. Well, Paulina, we got to move on to the next caller. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you so much. Have a good
Thanks,
You're
one.
welcome.
Bye.
Thank you, Paulina. Nice to speak to you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Bye, Tanim.
So next
You
we
want-
have Debbie Lynn.
Debbie Lynn, are you there? Debbie, all you got to do is unmute yourself.
Yes. Hello.
How are you doing?
Good and you. This is such a surprise. I just came for the info and now I'm in the show.
Yeah, where are you calling from?
I am from South Africa.
Welcome to the show. What did you want to talk about
Okay.
today?
I actually have a recurring theme that I've been dealing with, but I actually got some of the answers now just listening to the show. It feels like it's a looping cycle connected to receiving, but I feel it's deeply rooted in shame.
Okay. Were you shamed as a child?
Yeah, a lot.
What kind of shame?
But I think I actually can't pinpoint because there was a lot. But what has unfolded was there's always a trigger to a mystery school that really brings like full on, and then there's almost like this spiritual attack. It's usually when there's a lot of receiving getting ready to play out or come in for me.
Okay. So when you were a child, what was the theme of shame that you went through? Just a theme.
I think it started very young. Like I was 7 and my mom was murdered, and there was a lot of shame. I think
Okay,
that
the
I
loss
took
of the mother.
on.
Okay.
Yes,
What
but there
about
was
being
this
a,
story around it.
okay, what about just being a woman or a young girl? Was that shame
Oh
energy
yes,
put
that
on you?
too. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, from my father.
By
Yeah,
yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Now, as for coming to mystery schools, what was your first experience with a mystery school this lifetime?
Well, this was 10 years ago. The first weekend was okay until they did the initiation, and then there was just everything went
What
wrong.
school? What school was it?
The Modern Mystery School,
Modern Mystery School. Okay.
yes. So essentially kicked out after the first initiation. Yeah, and then now, like in this year, I was re-looping back into almost like the same scenario.
Okay. How much did they charge you to be initiated?
A lot. It was a pyramid thing, for sure.
Okay. That's why you got rejected, because it was a scam. And
Okay.
that's why you're feeling all this shame from mystery schools. You got scammed again. Lifetime after lifetime, mystery schools are scamming you and never giving you the truth of the teachings.
But that was the
So
thing. Like I,
my word for you is drop the mystery schools. You don't need them. They're I'm going to hate to say this, but too many volumes of mystery schools end up being complete and total scams.
yeah,
Okay?
I do understand.
Well,
I think that's what. Like I'm not really quiet. I'm very inquisitive, and I was asking a lot of questions, and I kept hearing
sure, and that's
no,
why you got
no.
kicked, and that's why you got kicked out. Because if you ask too many
Yeah,
questions, you discover that it's a scam. Even though
yeah.
they may have real teachings in there, but those at the top are scam artists.
Yes. I hear you. Thank you.
Okay? That means you have to take up a solo practice. You'll stop all this negative karma picking up a solo practitioner journey. Yes, you want to have friends that are in magic. You can earn them another way. You don't need a mystery school to become special.
Thank you.
You just need your dedicated, heartfelt work on yourself, and then what you're going to do with that heartfelt work on yourself, how you're going to help others. Or go into the grand philosophy stage. It's not about healing others. It's about developing the unique philosophies of how to live a natural life.
No. That's all
Create your
makes me
mystery school.
emotional.
Listen, you can create your own mystery school of one. You don't need anybody else to be a part of it. It's just you.
Thank you.
What do you do for a job?
That was easy. I'm a healer. I never intended to be like of service. I just started like after my traumatic life to heal myself, and in the last 5 years I started actually offering healings. So I do shamanic practices and Egyptian Sikkim. Yeah, I love that.
Do you do any sound healing work?
I do. I had a monochord bed, but I'm very intrigued into like sound healing, like voice healing.
Okay. So a number of your past lifetimes have singing as a profession. And meaning what's built into you this lifetime, if you were to go take voice training lessons very seriously, like as if you were going to train to be an opera person, as an example, take it serious, the level of healing you'll be able to do will be times 1,000.
Oh my word.
And I'm serious, times 1,000. But you need to learn the power of breath, the power of tone, how musical notes work, how musical scripts work, how music itself works, the reading of music, of sheet music. If you were to take that truly serious and give it a few hours of practice every month or a few hours of practice every week and go take traditional voice training opera type lessons, you will absolutely expand as a healer. I guarantee it in you.
Can I just tell you, you looped back to the shame that happened when I was 7. When my mom died, she actually bought me a piano. So I did piano from like 3 years old. And I do understand sheet music. I was very natural at it. My dad remarried 2 months after she died. And my stepmom, that was the first thing she got to like let go of, was the piano and the lessons.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that was the trauma from the beginning that took away your power of voice.
No.
Okay? Now you can get it back. And let me tell you something. You will have lost nothing, because the trauma of losing that was vital for you to grow. It made you into the healer you are today. Those traumas you went through. Okay? And now you can claim voice as the healed healer and become an even stronger healer. That's karma right there. You're welcome. That's karma being resolved right there. Taken away as a young child, and now coming back through voice lessons. As I said, the level of seriousness that you give it, it will repay you 1,000-fold every time.
Yeah, I have a deep calling, but it was the shame that kept blocking me, and I didn't know how to get around it.
Well, I'm sure you can find a voice lesson teacher in your area or online. Okay?
Yes.
Okay? If you can find somebody that's traditional trained in opera or knows opera style voice training, that's your best bet at rapid expansion.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
And you got to learn the power of the solo of the opera, where you are the solo singer. Okay?
Okay. Definitely diving into that. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. I got another question for you.
Yes.
What are you charging? What are you charging for your healing?
Well, it depends on who's in front of me. Sometimes if souls like really struggle, I'll go into like a barter. But I go soul guided on it always.
You got to stop doing that.
mm,
You got to set a price.
okay.
Listen, in this healing journey, you will never get the dollars back versus the value you give. But that's why we're
Okay.
healers. Once you set a price, you can give away sessions here and there, but you have to limit that. If you stay on this sliding weird donation scale that you're stuck on, what ends up
Mhm.
happening is the clients that you get will end up taking more than they ever give you.
Yeah.
Okay? Set a
Yeah, I
price.
understand that as well
Don't
because I do
undersell.
get
You can't
exhausted then.
right. You can't
Mm,
undersell yourself.
okay.
Okay?
Yes.
This type of solidity will truly change the nature of clients that you have coming, and more will come once you solidify a price.
Okay. I hear you. I've
Okay?
seen that. It's just my heart sometimes just goes out to, I think a lot of healers do that, but it
Sure.
does take a toll on you.
But then you can make a product that has all the healing wisdom in it, and you can give that away for free. So you don't have to do a
I
healing for
actually,
each individual person. Okay?
I actually started doing that. I made scrubs that does like a cleanse and all the revocations in it, and I do give that away.
Okay? Now you can do a sound healing one once you start training in it more and more and more.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes.
That then saves your energy instead of having to do an individual healing. It gives your multi-dimensional expression to be able to heal thousands.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sweating like crazy. Thank you.
Because you're feeling the high frequency of the show. That's what Adventures into Reality is about. Every time I do one of these shows, I spike my frequency to the highest that it's been. And imagine doing that for 10 years straight, twice to three times a week for a long period of time. Maintain my highest frequency through the entire length of the show. Because I do have something to say in the multidimensional world. Match me. Match my frequency. And that's why so many people are attracted to this show. They haven't felt this high frequency in their daily lives or have never felt it. That's why so many people are attracted to the type of material that I create because it works.
It really does. I have to share something else. The first time I engaged with the mystery school, what got me out of the extreme backlash and attack was I literally woke up from extreme attacks like 3 a.m. and I screamed and I was connected with the dragon god. And I immediately felt safe. And the very next morning, the first thing I came in my ear, and this was 10 years ago, and I went to go and Google you, and I found the contract revocations, and I've been on them for 10 years straight. And they really do work. Like this is part of my day flow, what I do.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for that.
You're welcome. You know how many people have told me that exact story? During a time of attack, something the next day, something whispered my name into their ear, or they were on a Google
Mm,
search, who's this guy? Okay? And all of a sudden, pow, they're hit by my frequency.
yep.
Okay? I decided to come in and make a big impact. Okay?
Well, it's working. It's
Yes,
working.
it's working. Okay? Okay?
Mm, thank you.
You're welcome. Darling, thanks a lot for calling in.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. This was
You're
amazing.
welcome. Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Dale and Laura, let's talk about frequency of the shows.
Mm,
You've
I'm
all heard
enjoying
me
it.
go high frequency before. What were some of your experiences with that?
I think a great one for me was when we did the Galactic History, when we went over that, and it was just me and you, because
Yep.
I had to then be speaking to you and kind of like matching that high frequency all the way through the show. And it's kind of like it's trying to high frequency, lower it, higher it, but not be burnt out. And that's something which has taken me a long time to be able to do. Like me going into high frequency for a long time, maybe 3 years ago, I'd just be burnt out straight away. And it's inspiring the way you kind of just withhold it, but it's not like an intrusion frequency or stepping on people's journey frequency. It's like a kind of echo. Are you going to match this frequency of remembering,
Yeah.
or and so on? So it's like you're echoing out for people to match you, and some
Yes.
people obviously can get triggered, get sad, get down, go out of the body, or just feel uncomfortable, and that's obviously that's what you're doing. You're the standing wave of the peacekeeper and peacemaker, and that's something I saw in my first Aya journey a long time ago. Was what we've done, what you've done on these shows for ancestral balancing, just matching this peace frequency and everyone hearing it, how much ancestral value that has behind it. Um, it's very unique and inspiring, because now through my shows, from learning from you and doing that, I can then do that as well. And the shows become so different. It's like I did my first show, The Dreaming Lodge, which is on the YouTube channel. And it was only for just about half an hour, but I was in high frequency for all that time. And it was just such a different show. It was such a unique show. And to be able to obviously learn more and more, it's inspiring. It really is.
Mm, it is.
And
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's. I was just thinking now. I think because of the work I've done with you over the years, um, it goes right through to my bones now. I accept this frequency. I can feel deep in my skeletal structure, deep within the cells of the body. And in the beginning, when I first came across you all those years ago, I knew there was a resonance there, which was deep. But I think it's now I'm much more open to your frequency. There's no well, I know sometimes I have resistance, but there's very, on particular,
Because
yes, on something I need to learn from you. But I'm so much more open to it, and I will come away from this show so totally inspired. I mean, you always inspire me, you know that. But when
yep.
you get into these flows, and I do love Adventures into Reality, just hearing you talk to other people, and it's a real honor to be present here with Dale as well, on Adventures into Reality, and being able just to maybe chip in now and again and have that greater understanding, which has taken, yeah, it takes years. It's not an overnight thing. It's years of doing the work and listening to you, and actually going out there and turning that knowledge into wisdom through action, which is something you've always taught. And your
Right.
teachings just, they stand the test of time again and again and again. I mean, they are timeless, they are infinite, and your language is the new colloquial now. I love it, Andrew. Thank you. It's just such an honor to be here.
and another thing to add here, it's like obviously going from being a listener to a good friend. It's like it's helped me evolve in such a way where because you don't. It's not like you don't have time for shit, but you don't have time for shit in a way, and it just kind of like it gives you a broadened perspective of what's real, what's not, and so a lot of people find it hard being around you because you're not going to take people's shit, you're not going to take their delusions and illusions, and this is something you see time and time again. Is just you call it out as it is. And that's seeing the truth for what it is. And a lot of people can't deal with that because when you're around someone like yourself, the programs can't hide, the shadow can't hide, and you always have to match this frequency of love. And a lot of people have a hard time doing it. And obviously, I've been doing the shows for a year now. I've done Talking Stick show for a few years before, and I've evolved beyond words from myself and obviously your material, being great friends with you, being great friends with Laura. It's had its challenges, but they've been the best challenges I've ever had, and the best, and they really are. They're like nuggets, and a lot of people just can't seem to match the frequency, and they'll kind of potentially sometimes turn for no reason, and it's just like, you just see it time and time again.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dale.
No
So I got
problem.
a question from the chat room. Somebody wants to know, what can I share about my own ancestors? Oh, it's an eclectic bunch of misfits. Thinkers, philosophers, artists. What have I learned about my ancestors? So everyone knows I have a Greek ancestry for the lineage. But beyond my living lineage, I have many other ancestors who are in other lineages. Other elders holding other places and other lineages. Some doing high spiritual stuff, some doing no spiritual stuff. But each has a specific, unique purpose when they came in. And my specific, unique purpose as the Galactic Historian was to help everyone put together the colloquial now story and help them define what the global narrative is trying to distract you from. And then a reminder that the skill sets to be special are very simple to learn. There's a whole bunch of basics to practice. And if you practice the basics till your blood boils and then practice them some more, there isn't anything in the most advanced levels you can do with ease. And part of my manifestation as this unique signature frequency being of the now was to show that anyone can do what I can do and more if they put their mind to it and stay connected to their heart. And when I look at those ragtag group of philosophers and misfits that are out there, I just realize I'm just another one of the big band of collective misfits fucking this world up as best as we can. Okay? Screwing up the programming of the system. Throwing a wrench wherever we can throw a wrench into any gear or cog. I'm a grandmaster wrench thrower. Okay? I have broken some of the most intense plans, and callers that have lineage-based curses and issues, and I can throw a wrench into them and crack down 10,000 years of curses and make it put back on the original creator that they never thought would happen because I have a random call-in show that they couldn't predict. Okay? Who could predict 10 years of random call-ins worldwide? How are you going to predict that? In an ever-evolving and changing world, with me in an ever-evolving and changing place, yet still a static frequency and standing wave in time. I'm a conundrum. I'm a conundrum wrapped in an enigma.
Yes. Plus, they can't outcreate your language either.
They can try. But I take that as a challenge.
Yeah, but yours is a certain frequency, isn't it?
Oh, sure. That means that if they're going to come up with some really good bullshit, it better be really, really good bullshit. Okay? Well, guys, let's call it an end to the show. I know we got some more callers in there, but we are already at near the top of the hour. I want to thank everybody for coming and being a part of the Christmas Adventures into Reality. Adventures in Reality will return another day, another place, and another time as we put the tray tables down and the seats back to their normal position so we can get on with our daily lives. Laura, you want to give away for people to get a hold of you?
Hi, yes, Laura2feathers@gmail.com with the number 2. We have a combined healing therapy website and also Two Feathers Medicine website if you'd like a session with me, or just private message me on Facebook, whatever suits you. Thank you, everybody. Really great show.
Dale, give away for people to get a hold of you.
So head over to daletobin.com if you'd like soul retrieval and psychic surgery and ancestral balancing. I'll also be running psychic surgery training in January, so head over to the website to have a look more into that. Thank you again.
All right, everybody, you know who I am. You go to my website, andrewbartzis.com, and you can find all of our wonderful products in our shop page, everything from the basics boot camp to the light language class. You can also book sessions with me on our new automated booking system. All right, everybody, take it easy. We'll see you tomorrow for our Friday night game stream. All right, Joel, take us away.